Right, it is 7.5 minutes past 4 o'clock, and this is a widely anticipated interview. And I know that because I've been stopped in the shop in Cambridge and asked by people, when are you going to be talking to John Dunn? Seriously, John Dunn, welcome to the studio.
Hi, Gary.
The family Dunn.
Yes.
The family Dunn.
Family of Dunns. Yes.
The family of Dunn, there we go. And Tanya.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us.
For having us. Yeah.
Tanya and John Dunn. Now, they got a wonderful, what can I say, experience, adventure ahead of them. More than that, though. It's much, much more than that. We're going to find out about that in a few seconds. But a few people have told me, because this interview was meant to take place a while back. Well, we've been chatting about it for a while, and the word must have got out, because I've seriously been asked in the spa, when are you going to be talking to John? When are you going to be talking to
Well, that's good to know.
So, here you are. Listen, I've been scratching around in your Facebook page. Yes, because you can tell a lot about people from your Facebook page. Now that you shared something a while back, which is, it's really true. Simon says, pat your head, and we all pat our heads. And Simon says, shake your hand in the air, and we all shake our hand in the air. But when Jesus says, go make disciples, we memorize that verse. And that's as far as it goes. Sometimes.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's a state of our church at the moment, the church in general, is that we don't take missions seriously. It is Jesus' final command before he ascended to heaven was to go and make disciples of all nations. But very, very few Christians are involved in that.
Why?
So,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. A lot of it, I think, has got to do with ignorance. A lot of people use I don't personally feel like I'm called to that, so I'll let someone else who is to go to those difficult places, and we'll just stay here and do what we need to do over here.
Meantime, that verse is right there.
Yes,
so we are called.
That's exactly it. It's not just for the apostles, it's for the church in general. So every single Christian, according to Jesus' command, has to be involved in missions, whether it's the actual going or the supporting of those that go.
What about people who say, I'm not going to ask you trick questions, it's not about that, but I was just thinking now, what about people who say, but there's a mission field right here on the Quickney, for instance? Why go 1,000 kilometers away when there's a mission field right here?
Of course, that is very important, but the command of Jesus was to go and make disciples of all nations. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that nations, the word that Jesus used for nations is ethnos, which basically means ethnicities or different people groups.
Okay.
And yes, we still are responsible for preaching the gospel to those in our neighborhoods, in our workplaces, and in our city and our country. But we are really blessed in South Africa and East London to have access to the gospel. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, there are 16,900 different people groups in the world, of which 7,000 approximately are still unreached. So this means that less than 2% of these people have no access to the gospel. Uh-huh. So without someone going to tell them about Jesus, these people are living and dying without ever hearing about the one who can save them.
I saw something on Sky News just the other afternoon here in the studio about a tribe of people, I think it was in the Amazon or something, who have been discovered, and they've been living there for, who knows, hundreds of years, yes, generations, and they know nothing about the outside world.
Yeah, that's
and they're trying to
it.
protect them now. And I was thinking to myself, they know nothing about Jesus either.
Yeah.
And who's going to go and tell them unless there are people like you?
Yeah.
Now, I want to just talk to Tanya quickly. Tanya, as a wife and as a mother, what did you think when John first... How did this come about? Did he tell you that, listen, I think this is what we should be doing?
Well, John's always had a great interest in missions and evangelism. He's always had such a wonderful heart for the Lord. And when he came to me and he said, mission and aviation is something that I'm really thinking we should get involved in. At first, I was like, bugs and all sorts of funny things, and I'd have to say goodbye to my friends and family. But it's amazing how the Lord's just worked in my heart, and to see the need that there is, not only to reach unreached, but also to reach those people that are hurting and in need. Mm-hmm. So from a mother and a wife standpoint, I'm excited to be able to go and share with other wives that are hurting and other children that are hurting, and actually be involved in that way, but also supporting John in any way that I can. So I'm 100% behind him. I think it's a wonderful idea.
That's awesome. And the children, they're excited as well.
Oh yeah, no, especially my daughter. She's really excited about doing it. In fact, she has come to us saying that her dream is to become a missionary teacher. So we're
wonderful.
Really excited about that. And my son Tristan, he's just so easy. Wherever we go, he's like, he's fine with that.
And how old are they?
So my daughter's 12 and my son's 9 years old.
So they're young.
Yeah.
Still young. That's going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Where did this start, though? I mean, you were a businessman. You were a successful businessman. You're a Christian, obviously. How long? When did you first?
Well, it's one of those stories where I can say I've always been a Christian in the sense that I've always believed, but obviously the fruits weren't there until the year after matric. So that was in 2004. That's when I really understood what it meant to follow Jesus. And since then,
and this little flame that's been burning about going out into the nations, where did that ignite?
Okay, so it's actually quite funny. In 2008, I think it was, the church that we were fellowshipping at introduced an evangelism training course called Way of the Master. I don't know if you've heard of it. But up until that point, I'd never shared my faith once, which is tragic. But since that course, that's all I want to do. And that really sparked my interest in evangelism and the desire to just preach the gospel wherever I can. Yeah, and then regarding the aviation side of it,
yes,
I've always wanted to be a pilot, first of all, since I was about 2-3 years old, round about there.
So when people said to you as a child, what do you want to be when you're big one day?
Oh yeah, it was to be a pilot.
Okay.
So everything was geared towards becoming a pilot. But it didn't come to fruition as planned. But in 2011, I got the opportunity to get my private pilot's license. And then it got to the stage where it was in 2015 where we were introduced to what's known as mission aviation. And just I went to Tanya and started speaking to her, and it just made so much sense, tying two of my passions, evangelism and mission work, with flying. And since 2015, this is what we have been working towards.
Isn't it amazing how God puts that in you before you even born?
Yes.
I mean, from a 2-year-old, you wanted to fly, and He was preparing you then already for what's happening now.
Yeah, that's very true.
But Tanya, isn't it a big step to take to sort of say, okay, we're going to say goodbye to a permanent salary, we're going to say goodbye to all the benefits probably that came with that, medical aids and all that sort of stuff, and we're going to go out into who knows where and minister. Isn't it scary?
I would say, it is a bit scary, especially when you have children. But that being said, we're looking at it for a long time. So we feel like we're quite well prepared. Look, obviously things are going to come our way that's unexpected. But the Lord will be with us.
That's going to grow you.
Yes, the Lord will be with us. But I feel like it gets to the point where you just have to go, I'm following Jesus, and I'm willing to actually pay and count the cost. And as a family, we're willing to do this for Jesus, and so that people can be helped and be reached. And it just gets to the point where you're just like, you know what, it's going to be terrible leaving my friends and family and comforts, but we're willing to do it for Jesus.
Awesome. So where are you going? What's happening?
Okay, so we feel called to serve with an organization called Ethnos360 Aviation. It was formerly known as New Tribes Mission. So it's an organization that focuses on building churches amongst all people. So every people needs to have a church. So this is their mission. So to go to all these unreached places, build a church, support the church, and then leave that church as long as it's self-sustaining. So we're wanting to serve with the aviation side of it, because one of the reasons why a lot of people groups are still unreached is because they are so isolated. And
you can't get to them.
You can't get to them, yes. So there's no access via roads or anything like that, and that's where aviation comes in. So we can take missionaries, Bible translators, support, all of that to these tribes, these people. So yes, so we want to serve with Ethnos360, but in order to do that, I need to get more qualifications. So I've got my private pilot's license, which it's great for having fun, but it means nothing in this environment. So I need to get my commercial pilot's license, as well as what's known as an A&P certificate, which is basically your air maintenance qualification. Because in the places where I'll be flying, it's if something goes wrong with the airplane, I can't just call a mechanic. So I need to be able to troubleshoot and fix the plane as much as possible wherever I fly. So that's a requirement, and So the only place we can really go to in order to get these qualifications is a place called Moody Aviation, which is a ministry of Moody Bible Institute. So the exciting news is that miraculously I've been accepted into Moody Aviation.
God.
Oh yeah, no, well it literally is.
I mean, this was his
God.
idea from the start.
Yes.
I think you know that.
Yeah.
So you know that no matter what obstacles and whatever may be lying ahead, it's ultimately approved by God, and it's all going to work out. This is exciting. Very exciting.
We're excited.
But listen, I'm sure it's not cheap either.
No, it is not.
It's so sad that they say the gospel is free.
Yes.
But it costs money as well to share it. I mean, there's a lot involved. How can people help? How can I get involved?
Okay, so I'll actually leave this to Tanya to chat about.
Okay, I can do that.
Give me the hard bit.
Talking about the money.
I'll talk about the flying.
Listen, I'm leading you on here as well, because I've got it in front of me. There's a go get funding page, which seems to be working well.
So John just said that he's been accepted into Moody Aviation, which is in America. So he's due to start in January, and with the visa requirements, we are unfortunately not allowed to work. John can work on campus, but it will just be like little jobs here and there.
Okay.
So we've been so blessed in getting 1 or 2 sponsorships already, but the visa requires that we have a full year's worth of tuition and living expenses up front.
Wow.
So with it being in dollars, it's been quite challenging because, I mean, South Africans, we really are struggling. So we've been asking here and there, and people have been so gracious, ladies at church coming with a little 100 Rand envelope in an envelope. We're so blessed by even the little amounts. So, we're needing a considerable amount of money to get there and to see us through the first year. The whole course actually is 5 years. So we're going to be needing it for that whole time.
Wow.
And so we know that the Lord can do the impossible, and we're just praying that people will just see our hearts and see the need and will partner with us somehow, if it's prayer or financially.
Okay. I'm always encouraged by the fact that it's only God that can do the impossible. I mean, we can do the possible.
Yeah.
Every day we do the possible. It's the impossible things that only He can do. And the humanly impossible, the things we perceive to be impossible. God says, no. and I see it's going very well. There is a Go Get Funding page, which I'm going to put on our Facebook page just now as well. So if listeners want to go and have a look, and there's a wonderful video there as well. It looks like you had a lot of fun making that.
We took a long time to actually make that video because we wanted to get the right lighting, the right environment, and it just never worked. So we just decided one day, let's just
and the
mash it
tricks
together.
in the background.
Oh yeah, no, my kids enjoyed that part of it. So,
so what? I know your passion is Jesus and is sharing, but is there any particular group of people or something that you really hope you're going to be able to speak to?
Yeah, the beauty is that there's still quite a while before we eventually get into the field. Obviously, we have to do the training. We'll have to do the training first. But at the moment, we feel led towards the Indonesian islands, so either Indonesia itself or Papua New Guinea. So that's where we feel the Lord is leading us. And one of the reasons is because there are just so many, in a small area, there are so many different people groups. I mean, in Papua New Guinea alone, there are 800 or so different people groups within a very, very small area. So the chances of reaching those people is far greater.
Sure.
So yeah,
this is quite a thing. I mean, I love flying. Okay, I love flying. I particularly like takeoff and landing in a big jet. I'm not talking about little planes now. I'm talking about a big jet.
Yeah.
But the slightest, anybody who knows me will tell you this, the slightest little bit, just little bit of turbulence and it's all over. We're going down and there's no hope. And so I can't imagine that because, I mean, you're not going to be flying the whole time in big jetliners.
No.
When you're out in wherever, in the forests and whatever, in the desolate places, it's going to be little planes.
No, they're going to be small planes. Up to 8-9 seaters, but sometimes even a 12-seater at most. But generally single-engine, high-wing aeroplanes, no jet engines. So, and we'll be landing on very, very difficult airstrips, sides of mountains in the bush, and so it's not everyone's cup of tea, but something that I'd love to tackle.
And the children going to be with you the whole time? But surely,
Not
what about
with the flying.
schooling and all that?
Yeah. So schooling, the great thing is that we are a homeschooling family already.
Okay.
So it's not going to be any change or any upset for them. We just continue with where we finished off here, where we go. We just
Very
continue
exciting.
with that.
Very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Anything you particularly want to say that we haven't covered?
Yeah, it's basically it's just to go back to what I was saying in the beginning, what you brought up as well, is the command to make disciples is for everyone. And Tanya and I were talking about it, and yes, obviously we're needing support so that we can do this thing. But ultimately what we are praying for is that our story will inform people about missions again and get them excited about missions, and for them to realize it's not just something that you can sit on the sidelines on. If you are a follower of Christ, you need to be involved in some way.
Yeah.
So the command is to go for every Christian. So if you're staying, you need to feel that the Lord's actually calling you to stay. And if you're staying, how are you going to support mission? So not just us, just missionaries in general. Because
Is there an urgency, do you think, for the lost?
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
At the moment, more so than at any other time, because the world seems to be spiraling out of control at the moment.
What we're seeing is that, well, in the Middle East and like in China and all that, we're seeing such a rapid growth in the church, which is so exciting. But then in the traditional Christian part of the world, so the West, you see this major decline in Christianity and liberalism coming in and postmodernism coming in, and just the gospel is no longer front and center. So there's a big problem there. But the urgency will always remain, because one thing that people overlook is in Matthew 24, when Jesus is talking about the end. One thing that we all overlook is the part where he says the end will only come once all nations, tribes have heard the gospel. So a pastor we listened to, David Platt, said that how desperate are you for Jesus to return? And if you want Jesus to come back, then you need to get going with the business of missions.
I think, and this could be controversial for some people, but I think one of the biggest problems these days is that we're far too comfortable in our own churches, in our own pews, in our own chairs, whatever we sit on in our churches, and we're far too comfortable with our lighting system and our worship team and all that sort of stuff. Meantime, there's a dying world out there, and we're worried about the color of our carpets and all that sort of stuff.
Very true. Yeah.
So awesome. Are you documenting this anywhere? Are you going to keep on as far as you can, so that people can keep up to date with?
Yes, that's correct. So on our blog, it's thefamilyofduns.com.
Okay.
People can just follow us. So when we have updates, we'll just put out a blog post so that people can stay informed, and also they can subscribe to our newsletter. Again, they go onto our blog and then they can subscribe there. So, and Facebook is obviously the best place. Whenever we have something, we just put a post out there. Instagram, all of them have the handles, the Family of Duns, so it's pretty easy to find.
Quite a catchy name, that too, the Family of Duns. The Family of Duns, Dunns. Okay?
That's correct.
I'm on the webpage there at the moment, thefamilyofduns.com. And I'll put all these links on our Facebook page in a few minutes as well. So listeners, go and have a look.
Fantastic, thank you.
So what's next now?
So Lord willing, we'll be going to Moody Aviation, which by the way is in the US, Spokane, Washington State, the US.
Okay.
Lord willing, we'll be going there January. So if we raise our funds in time, because we need to apply for our visas and all of that, and they need the proof up front. So if all goes well, January is where we'll be going next.
Okay.
So
awesome.
we're just wanting to partner with other churches as well. So if any churches would like us to come speak to their congregation, even Bible studies, coffee events, anything like that, we'd love to be able to share our story.
And how do they get hold of you? Via Facebook or?
They can via Facebook or our blog or
Instagram as well.
Instagram as well, yes.
Okay. Thank you. So much, and all the best to both of you and the family, and you must keep us updated along the way. Send out videos and stuff and voice notes and whatever, and we'll broadcast them.
We'll do that. Thank you so much for having us, Gary.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.